Three deadlines hit on Canada Day. One is NHL free agency, but this ain't the podcast for that. I may have 32 thoughts, but where Rasmus Anderson signs ain't one. The real deadline could finally get Alberta oil to the coast. Another deadline could blow a hole in every cross-border contract you sign. Happy almost birthday, Canada. I'm Jordan Bateman, and this is episode 4 of ICBA Coffee and Construction, the news that matters to the people who build British Columbia and Alberta. So quick note, due to holidays, our next episode will be Wednesday, July 8th. But breaking this Monday morning, June 29th, we are 48 hours out from the biggest pipeline deadline this country has seen in a decade. So let's start there. This Wednesday, July 1st, Canada Day, Alberta has to put a pipeline proposal on Mark Carney's desk. Not a press release, but a real written submission to the Federal Major Projects Office. 1 million barrels a day, Alberta crude, heading to the BC coast. As of Friday, Alberta Premier Daniel Smith's office said they're still on track to hit the deadline. Documents that surfaced earlier this month show 3 possible routes, and the majority of them end in northern BC. There's already a buyer circling, Rongsheng, the Chinese refiner that's the biggest customer of the Trans Mountain line. It's weighing in on a deal to take this oil too. Here's why a builder cares. If Alberta files Wednesday, the federal government has until October 1st to designate it a project of national interest. Smith says shovels could be in the ground as early as September 2027. That's not a press conference. That's years of work. Pipe, camps, roads, terminals on both sides of the Rockies. And here's the ICBA point. This is the get to yes test live. Smith wants to get to yes. Carney says he wants to get to yes. But the holdup is David Eby and the BC NDP as usual, because most of these routes run through his province. Eby has spent years telling everyone he doesn't like oil. Not the safety plan, not the spill plan. He just doesn't like the liquid that's in the pipe. So watch Wednesday. If the proposal lands, the next fight isn't in Calgary or even Ottawa. It's in Victoria with David Eby. Everyone's watching the pipeline. There's a second clock running out Wednesday, and it's the one that could hit your invoices the hardest. July 1st is when the formal review of CUSMA, the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal, officially begins. Our own Jock Finlayson flagged it in ICBA Economics mid-year update last week. Again, worth your 7 minutes to read his piece. Jock's take on 2026, choppy water. He says Canada is either in a recession or right on the cusp of one. Real GDP has now shrunk 2 quarters in a row. ICBA Economics expects growth this year of just 0.5%. Maybe to 0.8%. A year ago, we were running around 2%. Cut in half, then cut it again. But what does this mean on the job site? Tighter lending, skittish clients, material prices that jump every time Donald Trump reaches for the tariff lever, and that CUSMA review starting Wednesday is exactly the kind of thing that makes a steel quote good for, only about a week. For the full breakdown, subscribe to ICBA Economics at icba.ca/economics. It's the most helpful email you'll get all week, and it's free. We covered the condo bailout on Friday, and here's what's new since. On Sunday, Pierre Poilievre went public with a formal request asking the House of Commons Ethics Committee to open an urgent investigation into it. Just a quick refresher. The federal and provincial governments are buying up more than 2,200 unsold BC condos at a price of up to $1.45 billion. Poilievre's core argument is the one builders have been making ever since the plan was announced, that hoovering up that supply blocks a price correction. In his words, taxpayers are being forced to step in, quote, before developers lower prices, unquote. They've already started to lower prices, but we get what he's saying. Then he goes further. In the letter to the Ethics Committee, he says the plan came after 2 Vancouver fundraisers tied to Carney, including a $1,750 a head closed-door event billed as an evening with Mark Carney. And there were developers in that room. He wants to know who pitched this idea and which minister got lobbied. Now, that's Poilievre's allegation in his letter, not a proven fact. And the committee may never even sit on it. After all, the Liberals hold all the power there. But let's be super clear once again. No developer, no home builder, or no realtor we know asked for this plan. Most wanted development cost charge cuts, as does ICBA, and many wanted a deal similar to Ontario's, which would remove GST and PST for first-time home buyers. We believe this cockamamie scheme came from David Eby, who has been quietly using BC Housing to buy up unsold housing stock for months now. There were announcements in Langley and Vancouver as recently as February, buying up unsold housing stock and using it for other purposes. But here's why it lands for you, and this is the ICBA point. Strip the politics out and you're left with the same questions nobody in government will answer. Whose condos got bought or will be bought? At what price? Through what process? Carney himself said that no developer asked him directly. It's kind of a strange way to go out of your way to say. The details we're told come in the fall, after the check is in the mail. If government actually wanted cheaper housing, the tools are right there. Cut the development cost charges, kill the building code churn, and get the hell out of the way of the builders. Instead, it's $1.5 billion aimed at maybe keeping prices up, and now a potential ethics fight on top of it. And we didn't get anything for it. Well, that's the show for today. We'll be here next on Wednesday, July 8th. Try not to miss us too much. If this was useful, please subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Just search for ICBA Coffee and Construction. And do me a favor, send it to one person who builds for a living. I'm Jordan Bateman. This was ICBA Coffee and Construction. Now, go pour something.